Hi, it's Maureen Muldoon, and we're on lesson 33 with the Course in Miracles, the workbook lessons. There's another way of looking at the world. Today's idea is an attempt to recognize that you can shift your perception of the world in both the inner and outer aspects. A full 5 minutes should be devoted to the morning and evening applications. In these practice periods, the idea should be repeated as often as you find comfortable, though unhurried applications are essential. So as often as you find comfortable, but unhurried. So it's not like you want to do it as many times as you possibly can. Like, there's another way of looking at the world. There's another way of looking at the world. There's another way of looking at the world. You don't want to go crazy just like saying it over and over. You actually want it to, you want to absorb it slowly. So say it often, but say it slowly. It's not a race. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. There's another way of looking at the world. How about it? You know, A Course in Miracles began with that concept. In the beginning of the book, if you're reading the text in the preface, there's a place where it talks about how these two individuals, A Course in Miracles began with a sudden decision of two individuals to let go, to step into having common ground with each other. And it talks about how Bill said, after going crazy with this relationship, that love-hate relationship that he had with Helen, there has to be a better way. There has to be another way. And Helen said, I think there is, and I'll help you find it. So this is like an example of that moment. There's another way of looking at the world. To practice it. It says, this is how we practice it. Merely glance casually around the world you perceive as outside yourself. Merely glance casually around it, and then close your eyes and survey your inner thoughts with equal casualness. Try to remain equally uninvolved in both and maintain this throughout the day. And maintain this attachment as you repeat the idea throughout the day. There's another way of looking at the world. The shorter exercise period should be as frequent as possible. Specific applications of today's idea should also be made immediately when any situation arises which tempts you to become disturbed. For these applications, say, there's another way of looking at this. So the ego wants to tell us that this is the only way, and that we're right. And we have to kind of surrender that. That's based on the principle of scarcity. And the Holy Spirit has a million ways to bring peace. So there is another way of looking at this. I'm sure there's another way of looking at this. I'm open to seeing another way of looking at this. I'm claiming that there's another way of looking at this. So this is all ways that you can use to practice this lesson. Finally, at the end it says, remember to apply today's idea the instant you are aware of distress. It may be necessary to take a minute or so to sit quietly and repeat the idea to yourself several times. Closing your eyes will probably help in this form of application. So anything that distresses you, gosh, this is such a great lesson. For anything that distresses you, or anything that comes up to poke at you, or anything that threatens to ruffle your feathers, just allow yourself the gift of being still and knowing God. And by knowing God, you can say to yourself gently, there's another way of looking at this, and I'm open to seeing. A new possibility, something that I had not conceived of. Einstein says that you can't solve the problem at the level of the problem. So our best thinking has gotten us to this place. So these lessons are taking us outside of our best thinking. That's a good way.
It's not that unusual.
God bless. Have a great day.
Everything is beautiful. It's just another